Hello there, my friend. How are you? I pray that you are well. I pray that you are wonderful. I pray that you are magnificent. I pray that you receive these words at a time and a place where you need them. I pray that if you stumbled upon this video, that it is for a reason. Everything for a season and a reason, they say. What would you give and what would you give up to gain? What would you sacrifice to save? What would you let go to live a life worth living, worth having, being fulfilled by what you envisioned? To have a life that you see yourself living, what would you let go? This is the question I ask for you tonight about sacrifice. What sacrifices have you made? I'm sure that you have made many. We compromise a lot. There is a lot that we give up. But what would you give up today to have everything tomorrow? Shout out to Cedric. Thank you for joining. What would you give up? Really ask yourself, really ask ourselves these questions. I believe, like Jim Quick, that questions are the answer. The more probing questions that we ask, the more answers that we start to receive. So, what would you give up? What would you sacrifice to have everything? There's a quote that I love. Well, I say I love it now, but a quote that changed my whole life. And this quote was, "If you do not sacrifice for your dream, then your dream becomes your sacrifice." Sorry, spiders in here. One more time. If you do not sacrifice for your dream, then your dream becomes your sacrifice. What does that mean to you? Are there things in your life right now that you are doing too much of? And are there things in your life right now that you are not doing enough? What would be the great equalizer for you? What would be something that would tip the scale in the balance towards your dreams? I love the 80-20 rule, the Pareto principle. It really gets you to think about the things that are serving you and the things that are not serving you. About the energy that we are spending on things that aren't really getting us anywhere, that aren't really moving the needle forward in our lives. What are the things in your life that are moving the needle for you? And what are the things that are holding that needle back from moving forward? Because no one is ever standing still. If you think that you are remaining the same, you're kidding yourself. I thought the same thing. But nothing moves in a straight line. Everything curves, and it can either curve upward or it can curve downward. So we're always in a state of change. Even our biology, right? At a molecular level, we are constantly changing. Our skin is not the same as the night before. It's like our cells aren't the same as the day before. Like, things are always changing, right? I don't know scientifically all the changes that happen in our body, but I know that we undergo so many. But so does life. So what are you changing and what are you choosing? And understand that if you are not changing, you are choosing. So either we can go through the pain deliberately to get to the pleasure that we seek, or we can choose pleasure right now. And life may be painful later on. What would you sacrifice to secure your destiny? What would you let go to lead a more lavish and luxurious life? What would you release to relish in opportunities? What would you give up to gain so much more? Ask yourself this. I had to ask myself these questions. What did I give up? Some things that I can't even go into. But some things I can tell you about. Things that I thought were more significant than they really were. You're talking to a guy who was addicted to video games, right? I would be stuck in that virtual world, just, seeing the world through a screen and playing my life on a controller. You start to become your avatar. Whoever is on the screen, the character that you're controlling, that becomes you. And I'm talking about just hours and hours and hours when you invest all this time. I could play from sunup to sundown and sunup again. Not eating, not sleeping, not even using the restroom, not even answering the call of nature, right? And I'm thinking that I'm making progress. Fooling myself into thinking that I am actually getting things done. And so I know what it feels like to be trapped. I know what it feels like to see no way out. And if you've been there, I know what it feels like. I've been there. You're talking to somebody who, during a year of college, I ate nothing but hot wings, pasta, and ramen. Ramen, hot wings, and pasta, that was my diet, right? I ate nothing else. Every single day I ate one of those three things for a whole year. How was I still living? I don't know. Oh, I forgot. Popeye's chicken on Tuesdays, right? 2 for Tuesdays. 2-piece Tuesdays, they used to call it. So that would be my break from the hot wings, ramen, and pasta, the chicken at Popeye's, right? Craziness. And just the other month, I went a whole month without food. And I never felt better. Isn't that ironic? The very things that we think are necessary for life on this earth. I don't even know why I don't even know why I just got I don't know why that happened just now. But yeah, just sometimes lately I just been hit with something. It's like somebody out there is sending me a vibe and I just get hit. I just get smacked with it. The very things that we counted on for our survival could have been the very things that were holding us back from seeing what was there already. The things that lie inside you. My friend, I read a book, and I've yet to finish it, but I read a book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and it's called Becoming Supernatural. And in one of the chapters, he talks about a spiritual awakening, having an awakening just that was so powerful that he was able to see like spirit guides and just different things. And he was transported to a place that was beyond time. Time was not even, and he was not under any substance. He was just meditating. That was all he was doing. And he was transported to a place that was beyond the veil, that was beyond what we know as time. You ever seen like what, A Christmas Carol, the ghost of Christmas past, Christmas future, and Christmas, all that stuff. It wasn't as elaborate or lavish as that, I'm sure, but he was able to see beings that saw him back. They saw that he was able to see them, and they communicated without words. They communicated with love. He writes in the chapter that he was able to feel love on a scale, on a level that he never knew existed. Letting him know that we truly are limitless beings, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that there is no limit to the amount of love that you can have in your heart. When people look at people with all this love and they think of them as crazy, I used to be one of those people, looking at other people and judging them because they had more love in their heart than me, because they felt more love than I did. How could I judge this person, right? It sounds so crazy to me now, but I'm just starting to get a peek, a glimpse into that world. And it started when I stopped eating. And I'm not telling anyone to live this lifestyle. I'm not telling anyone how you should live your life, what you should do, what you should eat, not eat, how you should go about living. I only want to let people know and express that other forms of life are possible. Other ways of living are possible. Because if you would have told me 2 months ago that someone could go without eating, without drinking, and still survive for years, I would have told you you're crazy. I would have said, get away from me. I don't want to hear anything about that. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, don't you know when you go without water for 3 days, you die? Don't you know if you go without food for 5 days, you die? These are things that we are taught. And now I am living proof. There were lies. And maybe not even lies from people who had bad intentions or cruel intentions or wanted to persuade people to their ways of thought. But they were either misconceptions or perceptions that were untrue. So it's not like people are always out to get us or out to lie to us. But some people just aren't aware and don't have the self-awareness to know that other ways of living are possible. So that's all I'm here to do. I feel like it was my calling. I didn't know it was my calling at the time, but after going a month without food, a month without eating any solid food, and still going, mind you, I have learned so much, not just about myself, in my mind, my ways of thinking, challenging everything that I knew about what life was. I've learned about others. I've learned about life itself, about nature, how we don't always need to be in a hurry. We don't always need to be rushing. Just go, gadget, go. We don't always have to be just in a rush. I love the quote that says, nature never hurries, yet all is accomplished. Nature never rushes, yet everything gets done. You look at a flower, it's not hurrying, it's not rushing, it still gets the job done. You look at a tree, it's not hurrying, it's not rushing, and it still gets done. So if we are a part of nature, if we are a part of this, not ecosystem, but ecosystem, then realize that there's no need to hurry, Time is the greatest asset that we have, one of, the greatest things that we can never get back. In fact, there are 4 things that never return. I learned this from Dennis Kimbrough. The spoken word, the speeding arrow, the wasted life, and the neglected opportunity. Those are 4 things that never return. They never come back, right? So appreciate this life. Appreciate the things that you have. Ironically, the more that we are thankful and grateful for what we have already, things start to come our way. We get more when we appreciate what we have. Isn't that backwards? We want more and we don't get more until we appreciate what we have already. It's crazy, right? A guy told me this on the street, he was like, if you're not thankful for what you have, then why is God going to give you more to be unthankful for? And it hit me. It was like, duh. But it really is, it's just one of those age-old things, There's a story about gratitude. And, a father has 2 sons and they're identical twins. Everything about them is identical, except for if one thinks the TV is too loud, the other thought it was too soft, it needed to be turned up. If one thought it was too hot, the other thought it was too cold. If one is up, one is down. One is the eternal optimist and one is the perpetual pessimist, right? So they're identical in every way except for their mind, their mentality. The way they view the world is different. Like Henry David Thoreau says, it's not what we look at, it's what we see, right? So the father decides to do an experiment one day, and he decides to get presents for these 2 children. but in a way that they didn't anticipate. So, for the pessimist, he puts inside his room all the toys you can ever imagine, like every toy, every single toy, like trinkets, gadgets, toys, like all around, right? Just litters them in the room. And then in the optimist boy's room, he puts horse manure. He fills the entire room full of horse manure. Now he goes by the room of the pessimist boy, and he finds the pessimist boy crying, upset, distraught, disappointed, just in agony, sitting around all these toys and just whining. And he steps into the room and he asks, "What's wrong? What's going on? Like, you got all these toys." And the boy says, "Well, there will be no one to play with. No one will want to play with me. They'll all be jealous of me. With all these toys, I don't have enough time to look at all these instructions to learn how to play all these toys." He's just complaining, right? The father goes to the optimist's room and finds him playing joyfully, laughing, running and jumping, skipping in all of the horse manure. And the father says, "Why are you so happy? Like, why are you so joyous? What's going on? Where is this coming from?" And the optimist boy said, "With all of this manure, there must be a pony here somewhere." It's not what we look at. It's what we see. Let me leave you with that one. But I kind of got off topic just a little bit, just a tad. It's okay. But what will you sacrifice to gain it all? What will you give up to get everything that you envisioned your life to be? What will you do for yourself, for your family, for your friends, any loved ones, anybody who, if they're counting on you, if they're not counting on you, if you are counting on yourself, whoever you are accountable to, what will you do? What will you give up to gain it all? For me, it was food. That's just me. I thought, you know what? If there's one thing that I would give up, let me try not eating, right? Sounds drastic, I know, but I'm still here, still smiling, and still giving good vibes to you. So thank you for being here. If you were live, #live. If you're on the replay, #replay. Send me a question, get in contact with me, get in touch. I would love to talk to you. Take care, be blessed, have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are, my friend. We'll catch you next time.